Okay. I'm gonna go spam some people on the Discord. Those stupid thumbnails. And then we should go over to Twitter, shouldn't we? Why don't you show me my chat, buddy? All right, let's go over to Twitter. Social media. There we go. I found it. You're using your company's phone to watch me? That's awesome, dude. They're like, keep this phone so we can contact you 24/7 and wake you up and come in the weekends and do all this extra work for us. Do I get paid more? Your salary. Just shut up and like it. Yes, sir. Yeah, that's fun stuff. There we go. Got it. Butter. All right, that's done. There we go. All right, cool. I think we're ready to go now. I've done the spamming. All right, let's go over here. Hello, ladies and gentlemen. What's going on? How you doing? Welcome, welcome. Hanging out tonight, just Q&A, answering questions, talking about stuff. I'm sure it'll be fun. I'm sure it'll be fun. There's been a lot of spicy stuff in the D&D news area. Lots of videos going up. Professor Dungeon Master has been just, he's had like 3-5 videos in the last few days and all the different stuff. So I've watched a couple of them. So some interesting stuff going on. I'm sure it'll probably get talked about. I don't know. Yeah, that's fun. So tonight we have a giveaway going on, of course. There's a link in the chat at some point where you can sign up for the giveaway. Looks like it's right there. We'll draw the winner at the end of the stream. It's for the winner will get $50 DM Lair store credit. We have a whole bunch of 5th edition and Pathfinder 2 resources over there for you guys to use. We have books, we have PDFs, we have Foundry modules, we have adventures, standalone adventures, we have adventure modules. We just have tons of crap over there if you guys want to use them in your game. These books right here are really cool. These are like our best sellers. People love these things. This book has 29 adventures in it and over 100 monsters. This book has resources like puzzles and traps and NPCs and adventure ideas and random tables and villains and one-off encounters, just a whole bunch of stuff. So probably years of content for your games. So Layers and Legends, if you want to check that out, that's like that is our best-selling book over there. Best-selling 2 books, I guess you can call it. So, but anyway, if you win the giveaway, then you get $50 DM Lair store credit, and you can pick that up or Secret Art of Game Mastery or whatever you want. So there you go. So sign up for that crap. It's free. All right. Oh. My tea is almost ready. I'm gonna need some of that stuff. Meepy, what's up, dude? How you doing, buddy? Good to see you, man. Jennifer Mitsutani, hello, what's up? Dicequake, what up, man? Doom Budgie. I almost said Doom Bungie? Doom, what is it? Doom Squeegee? Doom Squishy? Doom, what is that? Come on, somebody help me. What do they call it when we're nerds. This has happened to us. It's happened to me. I'm sure it's happened to you, right? Where they like grab your underwear and they pull it up and over your head. What is that called? A wedgie. That's right, a wedgie. I think if it goes up over your head, that's called an atomic wedgie, right? I think that's the term. So anyway, for whatever reason, Doom Budgie, when I saw your name, I thought about a wedgie for some reason, and I don't know why. I apologize. you're probably mildly offended, which is fine. That's what we do around here. So, Seabass, hello. How you doing, buddy? Doom buggy? Oh, doom buggies. I rode in a doom buggy once. I live in Michigan. We have sand dunes here. So I went on a doom buggy ride. It was pretty cool. He was giving us a tour talking about cool stuff as we were going through there. Yeah, it's good to be alive, man. Rocket Crotch, what up, dude? How you doing, buddy? Is Goliath Cleric here? Oh, he might not be. He might be working, or he might just be like, I'm done working for the day. I'm not doing anything. Yeah, he doesn't always come by. He's not required to. He does. He works a lot. I mean, he should be working a lot. If he's not, I need to give him more work. I'm gonna get some tea. I'll be right back. We opted for green tea. Oh, my doggy is in her other bed. I'll turn that camera back on. There you go. You guys, this is my new dog. I turned the camera off because she never goes in that bed. Let's go full screen on that. This is my new doggy. She just got her cool new pink and purple camouflage harness today, which is super cute. So, and she just went on her, oh, I have a cool story about my new doggy too. We just took our first little mini trip with our new doggy. My wife and I go on these like mini trips every so often. I work like every day of the week in my basement here, and every so often I'm like, I have to get the heck out of this place. And so we go on these little trips where we just go overnight somewhere, and we'll just leave overnight somewhere and come back the next day. And we just took her on a little mini trip, and she puked, like mega puked in her, I don't know what you call this thing. It's like a carrying seat. It's a doggy seat. So they make these like, I don't even know what the heck to call it. It's not a crate, but a crate is the general form of it. And you put it in your back seat of your car. It straps in with your seatbelt, and your dog sits in there, you know? So it's her car seat basically, but you know, it's got high walls around all the edges. So she puked her brains out in her car seat. But here's the thing. She was a smart little doggy. She didn't just puke her brains out in the car seat, because we left her in the car for a while and went and did some stuff, you know. And when we came back, I didn't notice the puke at all, because what she did is she puked her brains out, and then we had a bunch of blankets in her car seat with her, and she pushed all of the blankets over on top of the puke. So the blankets were covering the puke. We couldn't even see it at all, and it looked normal, right? So she's like, I'm covering up the evidence so I don't get in trouble, I guess. So I did not discover the puke until this morning. We were like we're leaving the hotel, and I was gonna put her in her doggy seat, and I noticed that all of her blankets were bunched up to one side, and I was like, I should, you know, even these out a little bit. I grab them and start pulling them over, and then I notice all of the puke, and I'm like, oh my gosh. So she got to ride all the way home in my wife's lap. My wife, she was just sitting on my wife's lap. My wife was holding her, basically. So that was our first trip. She puked her brains out in her car seat. It might have been some motion sickness, but I think it might have been like anxiety too, because we just adopted her about a week and a half ago. So I think she's still got some nerves and stuff, and she's still kind of settling in. So I'm pretty sure she's got some anxiety going on a little bit, still nervousness and stuff with the new environment and that. So probably going on the road trip was a new thing for her and stuff, so that added some anxiety. So I'm hoping that she puked because of that. because if she has like motion sickness and just pukes all the time when she's in a car driving, that's going to be a problem, because my wife and I like do a lot of little mini road trips, so that would be a problem. So but she was fine on the way home, so let's hope that's not a problem. A little criminal. She's totally a little criminal. Absolutely. Yeah. Nixon, I was eating. Yeah, you know. My wife gets all... It's interesting. Animal puke does not bother me at all. Like cat, dog, it doesn't bother me. I have no problems whatsoever. I'll clean it up. It doesn't bother me. Human puke, though. Oh, man. That is nasty. That makes you... Oh, the smell of that is so... It makes you want to puke yourself. But animal puke's not a big deal. I don't know. But human puke, oh, man, can't do that. Can't do that. That's very, very bad. The smell of that stuff. See, I don't mind the nastiness of it, like the looks of it, cleaning it up and stuff. None of that bothers me. It's the smell. The smell of it is like revolting. So anyway, that's a great topic to start off the live stream with. Talk about some puke. Whoops, where's my camera? There we go. All right. Hey, Fantalali, thanks for becoming a member. Dude, I appreciate that, man. You went to the store and found a $5 homebrew 5e book called The Game Master's Book of Random Encounters. I think I actually might have that book. I think they sent me that book, like a free product thing that they sent that to me. I think I have that. I don't remember a whole lot about it. This was a couple years ago, but I think I have it. That's my only comment. Thaddeus says, my dog can throw up, it's fine, but anyone else throws up and I'm out. Yeah. My wife can't handle any puke at all. Like cat puke, dog puke, my wife can't do it. She'll my wife will do this. If a cat pukes, my wife has two responses. One, she gets a box. She takes a box and she puts it over top of the puke. She covers it up, with the open side down, obviously. So the box isn't sitting in the puke, it's just covering it, right? It's boxed up. So she'll put a box. So if I ever like walk through our house and just see a box randomly, in the middle of a room or somewhere, I know exactly what's underneath that box and what I have to do. And then the other thing that she'll do is I have these sandals that I use. They're by the door or whatever. She'll take my sandals and she'll put them around the puke area, so if I'm like walking and scanning and I see my sandals like in the middle of the room, I know those sandals are marking off, they're delineating the puke area. A couple days ago, what she did is the cats had puked in a room that we don't go in a whole lot, but my wife had found it, and she had like breadcrumbs. She didn't do her normal thing. There was a sandal in the hallway, and then a little bit further on was another sandal, and then from there, turning a left, there was something else that she put on the floor. She was basically drawing an arrow toward the puke, and so I saw my one sandal and I was like, huh? And I saw the other sandal and I was like, huh? And then from there, I found the other thing. I forget what it was. And then I was like, oh yeah, there's a bunch of puke. Okay, cool. It was like the arrow on the floor pointing toward the puke. So that's what she does. She just guides me to it so that I can clean it up. She doesn't do it. She refuses to do it. Yeah, at least she doesn't ignore it. Yeah, she marks it off for me so I can clean it up. Jerry, cool. Thanks, buddy. You like my rules lawyer intro? Thanks. I'm going to start doing more of those skits too. I used to do that. I don't know how long you've been watching my content, but back in the day, I would, for like a couple years, 2 or 3 years, for a while, every single video, I would open it up with one of those skits. And I stopped doing it at one point, and then it wasn't too long ago. It was like maybe a month ago or something. One of the things I do as part of my job is I analyze my videos and what's working in videos, what's not working, and then I try to make adjustments and stuff. And I was just looking at some metrics from some of my older videos that have those skits in there. And I noticed that the retention time during those skits is pretty decent. And there were some other metrics too that stood out to me. And so I was like, you know what? That's probably worth trying again. Let's start doing some of those skits again and see how they work, you know? And it also just gives me like a little bit something more fun to do than the talking head thing, like maybe a bit of a creative outlet or something like that. So I don't know. And the other thing too is that I can also just take those skits and I can use them as shorts. I basically, so the skit leads into a talking head segment, right? The skit's about a minute, roughly a minute long. Well, the rules lawyer one was super long, but most of the skits are going to be about a minute long. I can chop those skits out. I can have my editor turn it into a vertical format, and then that can go onto a short with like no extra effort for me. I don't have to do separate filmings, separate scriptings, nothing. It's just my editor takes care of it all, and I have a short, you know, to put up there. So, yeah, so I had like a little brain idea. I was like, hey, I should try that, see how that works. Oh. Which cat is standing by the red light? Oh. Squeaky, you want to come up here? Squeaky's afraid of the dog. Squeaky's over here. You gonna come up here? You gonna be on the stream with me today? He looks at me and then he looks at the dog. He's like, he keeps alternating between looking at me and looking at the dog. Well, come on. The dog's not gonna hurt you. The dog likes you. He just wants to play. She just wants to play. Come on. Come on. I know the dog's not gonna hurt you. I'm trying to convince him. He's like slowly coming over here. The dog's not gonna hurt you. Look at, she did. She stood up. What are you doing to Squeaky? Don't bother Squeaky. Come on. Come here, Squeaky. I'm gonna pick you up, you big turd. What are you doing? Come here. Come here. Oh, he just ran off. Big fluffy bucket ran off. You're such a baby. Whatever. He's crazy. Oh, Anna Lee, I'm so sorry to hear that. We literally lost one of our dogs two weeks ago. My little Soso, she was a Chihuahua, little adorable thing. And we had to put her to sleep like 2 weeks ago. She had, what did she have? She died in my arms too. Literally, I was holding her when they did it. She had kidney failure, just chronic, a kidney disease, and it was becoming it was like I think acute, because I don't know, medical jargon isn't my thing, but it was progressing very fast, very, very fast. So, and we took her to like the expensive MSU Animal Hospital, $3,000 to try to treat her and all this kind of stuff. And they're like, yeah, dude, we did everything. The kidney values, they measure the creatinine, I believe. And they're like, that's not coming down at all. They're like, there's nothing we can do at this point. So yeah, we had to put her down. So it was sad. She's a good little doggy. I had her for 2 or 3 years or so. She was blind and mostly deaf. But toward the end, she wasn't even eating, you know, she wasn't eating anything. And they couldn't do anything. So it's like, well, what are you gonna do at this point? You know, they had a tube down her nose to feed her and stuff. So, you ready? Here we go. There's the big boy. So, that stuff is sad, you know. But you know, you gotta do what you have to do, and you have to, you know, be compassionate too, because if you just let them suffer, that's not cool either, you know. You ready, buddy? Oh, big boy. Yeah, look at that fluffy bucket. Yeah. He's gonna be on the live stream with us today. Yeah, my co-live stream pilot. Yeah. Zoe wore diapers all the time. So our new dog, okay, so our new dog's name is Tragedy too. We're calling her Tragedy. Well, I'm calling her Tragedy because she looks at you everything is a tragedy to her. She like looks at you with these big eyes, like, oh my goodness. If you leave the room, she runs after you, like, why are you leaving me? You know, if she just always is looking up at you with these big puppy. She's not a puppy. She's about 3 years old. But she looks up at you with these big eyes, and her face is just like tragedy. Like, no, it's the end of the world. No, what are you doing? And she's happy, and she's wagging her tail and stuff, but she's just got this, like, I don't know, this tragic look to her that is, it's adorable, but I don't know. So I'm calling her tragedy. I think it's funny. She's a good dog. She's well potty trained. She is like, she's good with the kitties. She wants to play with the kitties, which is a problem. She'll run up to the kitties and want to play with them. And we have some older kitties who don't like that. One of our cats is blind, so Tragedy will run up to the older cat, Mommy One is her name, and like want to play with her, and Mommy One can't see, and she's like, "Rah!" And she'll just start hissing. And then Twitch is an older cat, and he's got some arthritis and stuff, so he walks really slow and deliberately, you know, and he's got some back pain and stuff. So I think but Tragedy will run up to Twitch and like want to get on top of him and play with him, and Twitch is like, don't bother me. So, but she's good with the kitties too, which is very nice. Question for everyone. Hey, relax. Don't bark at mommy. She's, no, the cat runs off. Hey, don't run after the cat. Don't run after the cat. All right, let's see. Yeah, Squeaky is thick. He is very thick. Yeah. Would you happen to have any free material for Pathfinder First Edition? No, I don't. I've never published anything for Pathfinder First Edition, which is basically the same as D&D 3.5, but I've never published anything like that. No. A little Chihuahua Italian Greyhound. Oh, that sounds cute. I don't know what ours is. Ours is like, I think ours might be like a Chihuahua Jack Russell mix. I looked at some pictures of those, and it's a possibility, but we ultimately don't know what mix our dog is at all. Fantasy Failure says, I just got your Layers and Legends and Loot and Lore bundle. What's your advice on not getting distracted or overwhelmed with all the content when you get a new Game Master resource? Yeah, so he just got all of these things. It's like over 700 pages of stuff. So this is, I don't know how you normally do this stuff, but I'll tell you what I normally do. Like what I'm learning a lot of Shadow Dark games right now, and so I'm reading a lot of this content and rereading it. I've read most of it once already, but you got to reread it to get better at it and remember things and process stuff. But when I get a new Game Master resource or anything, usually something that I care about and I'm actually going to use, what I'll end up doing is, you might find this to be gross. I should probably obfuscate what I actually do with a more palatable response, I suppose. So, when I have a new Game Master resource, what I'll do is a couple times a day, I will go sit in a chair and read portions of it until I am done sitting in the chair. And then I'll just come back to the basement and go back to work, you know. And then the next time I need to sit in a chair, I'll grab the resource and take it with me. I'll read a little bit more of it, and I'll just slowly work my way through that resource. You know, I've done that with, like, when I was running Curse of Strahd, I was reading through the module that way, just reading little bit by little bit by little bit. The thing is that, like, you don't have to use the stuff from the resource like immediately anyway, and you might also, instead of just reading, like, for if you got these. Like, this isn't like a module that you play from start to finish. This is a collection. I mean, it's an anthology of Game Master resources, an anthology of adventures, an anthology of, like, traps, puzzles, and stuff. So what you want to do is you want to try to find something that is interesting to you that you want to use in your actual game. So what my approach would be to browse through the stuff, the anthology, until you find something that piques your interest. And I would use your current game to inform your browsing. So if your game, they're like level 5, well, then when you open up Layers and Legends, you want to look for the level 5 adventures. So go to the introduction, and I hope we should have, there should be a chart or something. I don't know, maybe we didn't do it. Oh, that's an oversight. we should have published a table in here that told you the level of the adventures so that you could reference that very easily, but we did not do that. I think we did that with Layers and Legends too. I think we learned from our mistakes. But what you should do, even though we unfortunately did not make it easy for you in Layers and Legends 1, but hey, those are the things you learn when you're publishing. You learn from your mistakes, nothing you can do about that. I would look through the level 5 adventures to see if there's a level 5 adventure that interests you, and then maybe you use that for your next game session, or a game session in the near future. If you design your own adventures and you're looking for inspiration and stuff, then you can get inspired from almost any adventure. If you're looking for traps and puzzles and things, then maybe if you know you design your own adventures and puzzles, you're bad at those, I am usually, then maybe you're just looking through puzzles that you can just drag and drop or something. So, but I wouldn't worry too much about like reading start to finish on the resource. I would browse through and try to find things that are quasi immediately useful for you in your games that you're running, right? And then you can drag and drop them in and start using them right away. I think that's probably a decent approach for that. Vince Buff says, I just finished my second session as a game master and your content helped me a lot. Cheers from Italy. You are very welcome. Thank you. Thank you. Parlez-vous Thaco? No, I don't speak Thaco. I mean, I do. I know kind of what it means. I can figure it out. But DR Fibs says chair meaning toilet. No. Listen, everybody just gets up and randomly sits in a chair for about 5 to 10 minutes a couple times a day. That's pretty normal behavior. I understand I'm older, spend lots of time in chair. DR Fib says Lair magazine rocks. Thank you, I appreciate that. Doom Wedgie says reads the tomb on the throne. Yeah. All right, there were some other questions up here I think I missed. I'm gonna see if I can find one. Don't forget, guys, we have a giveaway going on too, so you can get $50 DM Lair store credit. We'll draw the winner at the end. It's free. You just sign up for it. It's pretty simple. Hopefully, and if you scroll up in chat, there's a link to the giveaway somewhere in chat. You can find it and go sign up for it. We'll draw the winner at the end of the stream. If you posted a question and I didn't get to it, you can repost it too. That'll make it easier for me. Yeah, my cat was totally biting me, and then he got scared and ran away. Dang, that sucks. People talking about having to put their animals down. It's always sad. Okay, Field Marshal GM says, how do you handle PC absences? I've been trying to run a one-shot with all my players, 6 of them, for months on top of our normal game, but I can rarely get everyone together on the same night. Well, you don't do that. You can't. Like, that's the death spiral. It is when you decide that you're only going to play the game when all of the players can make it, you have a death spiral on your hands because, you know, there's almost always going to be one person who can't make the game session. And then if you have like adults, right, who have jobs and families and kids and stuff and possibly other things they're interested in doing, you know, like you're going to be like, well, let's do it on Saturday night. Oh, no, that's college football day. Okay, so Saturdays are completely out because of this player. All right, well, how about Sunday? That's NFL football night. Oh my gosh, everybody's like watching football. And then you're like, well, what about Wednesday night? And they're like, well, I go to church on Wednesday night. Okay, cool. Well, what about Tuesday night? Well, Tuesday night's family night, for the other guy. And you can go around the table and like everybody's got something that's going on. And so if you try to schedule your games like that, yeah, you're probably gonna not play very often. So what you have to do is you basically have to like figure out a time that works the best for most people. And if it just happens that the football guy, he's always busy because he's got to watch football every single weekend, every day on the weekend. It's like, oh, got the college football and NFL. Well, but everybody else is available on Sunday night. Well, guess what? We're going to play Sunday night, and I'm sorry, dude, but everybody can meet, and you're the only one who can't. And we're just going to play. And it's unfortunate that you can't make it, but this is what's going to happen, because we're going to play D&D. And when you're able to play again, then you're welcome to come, obviously, but this is what we're doing. So you have to do that. Otherwise, you're never going to play, dude. You're never going to play. And somebody's just going to have to miss out. It sucks, but that's what you have. It's like either somebody misses out or everyone misses out. Isn't it better that some people could enjoy playing the game and hanging out together rather than no one gets to do it? I think it is. That's how you kind of got to handle that situation if you actually want to build a player game. And that applies for a one-shot you're doing, that applies for your normal campaign. You just have you find a day and a time that works best for most people at most times, and then you have it reoccurring every couple of weeks or whatever, and you never change it, and that's just when it is. And if somebody can't make it, they can't make it. We're going to play the game anyway. It's amazing when you have a consistent schedule and you don't reschedule and you don't cancel when someone can't show up. It's amazing how consistent people can be, because they know that if they don't show up, they're going to miss out. And so they figure out a way many times to show up, even if, it was a little bit of some friction making it happen. So, but when people know, there's a psychological thing there. When people know that they can just, hey guys, I can't make it, sorry. And then the game's going to get canceled because they're not there. Well, they're not missing anything, And so it's kind of like, whatever. I didn't miss the adventure, because they just canceled it because I couldn't come, But when they know they're going to miss out, I think there's FOMO. FOMO, right? Fear of missing out. People will be more likely to show up. So you can't cancel or reschedule, And there's a lot of people that will be like, oh, we can't do that. We can't not have a player there or whatever. And then you have to be satisfied that you're just going to not play a lot because you're not willing to just play without somebody, you don't have to. You can do it either way you want. You just have to accept the consequences if you don't want to play without somebody. You're just going to end up playing maybe not that often. And if you're all okay with that, okay. That's your cup of tea. You don't have to do it my way. I'm just saying that my way tends to result in more frequent game sessions with, fewer cancellations and more playtime. That's all I'm saying. Gabriel says, maybe a little late, but now that you are making material for Pathfinder 2, do you think on taking some of the older dungeon magazines and revisiting them for Pathfinder 2? No, we're not going to do that. It doesn't make us much money. It's not financially viable, essentially. It's just the truth of the matter. There'd be a couple people that would probably get them and benefit from it, but we would pay a big financial cost to do that. And so that's just not able to happen at all. So the answer is no to that. It's finances. Okay, I think I got some of the stuff up there. All right, so if you have another question, throw it in the chat. If I missed it, throw it in the chat. I'll try to get it. I'll do my best. The NFL is great, but being around and storytelling and laughing is so much better. Yeah, I don't know what it is, but I've always found college football to be more interesting, and I don't know why. I almost never watch football. I played football in high school, and I like football. I just don't watch it a whole lot. But when I do, I just feel like college football is more interesting. I don't know why exactly, can't put my finger on it, but it just feels more interesting to me. I don't know. Now I'll tell you, for hockey, it's the opposite. Professional hockey is way more interesting than college hockey, because in professional hockey they fight, and that's very cool when you see a nice hockey fight. What was it? My wife and I went to some professional hockey games, and they were doing my wife is from Central America, and she likes soccer. She likes soccer a lot. And hockey is very similar to soccer. Your same basic idea. An object is being driven back and forth across a field, and you're trying to get it into a net. Now, there are some differences, obviously, but it's the same basic concept. And so she likes hockey. She thought it was cool. And the professional hockey, they fight, and I thought that was cool. I was like, yeah, get into some fights. This is awesome. And there's some violence. They're checking each other and doing this stuff. I think that's cool. That makes it more interesting. But then we got some tickets. I used to work at a place that would give free tickets to hockey games sometimes. And they would give us free tickets to this college, MSU, Michigan State University hockey games. And we go to these hockey games, and they were enjoyable and stuff. And we liked getting the roasted peanuts or almonds, the roasted almonds they have it there. But there were never any fights. And I was like, why aren't there any fights? Like, what? And then I think I read, or it occurred to me or something. Oh, it's college. They're not allowed to fight in college. They'll get in trouble. Oh, that sucks. And so because I'd always go to these college hockey games being like, all right, baby, where's the fights? Let's go do some hockey fights. And then they wouldn't have any, and I was like, no, man, it's not cool. Then I realized it was because it's college, so you have to watch professional hockey or something to be able to see the fights, which is cool, which is very fun. Buster says there are very few fights in hockey anymore. Why? No, my wife does not play any tabletop role-playing games. Yeah, the Lions are doing okay. The Lions game on Thanksgiving Day, I can't believe they won. I saw what was happening toward the end of that game, and I was like, the Lions are gonna lose. How can they not lose? It was crazy. And then somehow by miracle, they won the game. And then I think it was during my Pathfinder 2 game, my friends were telling me that who'd the Lions play against? What was the other team? They were telling me that the head coach got fired after that game because he didn't stop the clock. Apparently, I didn't even notice this when I was watching the game, but right toward the end of the game, I was also distracted by Thanksgiving stuff too. But right toward the end of the game, apparently the clock was running down, and the other team had timeouts remaining, and they didn't use them to stop the clock or something like that. And then the head coach ended up getting fired for it, which is understandable. It's like, you totally lost the game because you don't know how to manage a clock, which is like the most elementary thing, Well, it's probably more sophisticated than I think, but yeah, everybody's seen that the last 2 minutes of a football game can take as much as like an entire quarter because they're always stopping the clock constantly. Like, it's pretty, you kind of expect that. So to not do it is really a massive oversight. It's either a massive oversight and a brain fart, or you almost want to be like, was he getting paid to throw the game? Because wow, that's pretty egregious, So it was the Bears coach. Oh, okay. The Bears. Okay. Somebody else was dumbfounded too. Yeah. Probably more fights in a beer league. I don't know. The professional hockey games I saw were with the Red Wings, the Detroit Red Wings, and there were a decent amount of fights in them. I mean, it was probably just like maybe 2 in the whole game, but it felt good. It was a good amount. I could go with some more, but I wasn't disappointed. I've never played Starfinder 2, so I don't really know anything about it, in all honesty. Using it. Okay, so what would you, the DM Lair, change to make a better version of D&D 5th edition, but also keep it compatible with D&D 5th edition. Oh, I don't know. I haven't really thought about that. What would I change about the game? I don't think I would have revamped all. I haven't read the new books that much at all, to be perfectly honest with you. So you're gonna have to take everything I say with a bit of a grain of salt, because I'm talking from a position, a pretty big position of ignorance right now, because I haven't read the new content, and I probably never will. Those books are gonna gather dust on my shelf. But I haven't really read them. I've glanced through them, but it looks like they revamped the classes a lot. They did a lot of work on the player content, like making new player content. And I don't know if their motivation was to actually improve the content or just make new content because it would get better sales or something. But I feel like, I don't know what I would have done, because you got to run a business, so you have to get sales. If you don't make sales, you're in trouble. So I can totally understand why you would want to create new player content, classes and stuff like that, because it sells books. And you got to sell books, otherwise you go out of business, and then nobody wins. Your employees don't win, your customers don't win. So you have to stay in business, because if you don't stay in business, everybody loses. So I understand the need for selling books. I understand the need for making content that appeals to people, that people want to buy, you know. And so I totally get that. I can't fault them for doing that, you know, because it totally makes sense from a business perspective, you know. I feel like, so that makes sense. I feel like, so I wouldn't take that back necessarily. Now, I don't know, I can't speak to the exact changes they did make with the new classes or the reworked classes and stuff, because I've not read them, you know. So people might disagree with what they did with some things. Like, they might say that the Paladin, they don't like what they did with the Paladin, or the Ranger still sucks, or I don't know what people are saying. So people can make whatever comments they want, and that's fair, and I'm not speaking to that. I'm just saying that in general, it makes sense to make new or revamped player content, because that will, you know, incentivize people to buy the content, and they got to make money. They're a company. So I think that makes sense. But I feel like some of the things that I've been hearing, and I don't listen to a lot of these videos or even read articles or anything about, you know, all the different changes and the things that are better and the things that are worse, the things that they fixed, the things that they broke, the things that remained broken, that weren't touched, et cetera, et cetera. But it feels like there are a lot of things that did not get fixed, that could have been fixed, like spells and broken combinations and stuff, or things like that. Those things still persist. And I've also heard that there are things that worked just fine before that they broke with the new books and stuff. And so that's not cool, right? So you didn't fix some things and you broke other things. Some things did get fixed and some things got better. So it's like a big mixed bag. And I feel like what I would like to have seen is that, you know, you want to revamp a bunch of stuff to sell books. Okay, that's fair. But let's fix the stuff, right? Let's not break some new stuff, and let's have some real solid play testing. Let's take some time. Let's get this right. You know, let's do a really good job at this, and make these books super solid and super tight, you know, and because the feeling I get, and again, remember, I haven't read the books and I probably never will, but from some of the things I've been hearing, the limited amount that I actually follow the new books, my interests are pretty far from D&D these days. They're like Shadow Dark or Pathfinder 2 or Call of Cthulhu or something like that. But what I have heard, you know, makes me feel that they did a really rushed job on the 2024 books. It was a rushed job. They had a date. They're hitting dates. You know, well, the dates got pushed out. I'm sure they never wanted to publish the books this late in the year, I'm thinking, and they probably never wanted to publish Monster Manual next year as opposed to in 2024. So my guess is that there were two contributing factors that caused the delay, and I think it's a big delay. I think that the OGL lost them a few months, where the company was scrambling a little bit and dealing with the OGL fallout, and I also think that the massive Hasbro layoffs at the end of last year probably affected things too. That would be my guess. So I think and they might have had other disruptions too, but I think those books got delayed by a lot too. And they were under the gun and they were rushing to get the stuff out. So I feel like if I were to do it, like what I would like to do is not rush it and actually make the books good and make them tight and do some solid playtesting. Not the playtest packets. That's not playtesting. That's market research. But real playtesting where you have, hundreds of groups that have the books, they have the complete rule set and everything, and they playtest for a few months, and they give you a bunch of feedback, and you want to coordinate it and make sure that people are playtesting specific things and stuff. Have a really coordinated playtest effort. So, where you're assigning certain groups to playtest this, that, and that, and da 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 da. You want to have it pretty tightly, coordinated, and then you get feedback, and then you revamp the rules according to the feedback from the playtest. You tweak things a little bit, and then you send it all out again, the rules in their entirety, right, for another round of playtesting, and you do a couple iterations of that until the playtesters are like, hey, it's tight, hey, and then you feel pretty good about it, and you're like, oh yeah, now we got it tightened down. But I don't think I can't imagine they really did that. Not in a robust way. There may have been some sort of like playtest in that manner, a private one on a smaller scale or something, but I don't think it was a very robust job, because if it had been, then I think we would have gotten a better product at the end, but that's like an ideal world. But you can't. Every product you ship is not what you would want it to be. Everything you ship. We're about to fulfill Layers and Legends 2 in a couple months, and there are things that we reviewed those PDFs so many times before sending them to our printer, and now our printer's doing their thing, and we found out there's a couple mistakes here and there, but it's like we can't fix them at this point. The ship has sailed. The printer's got to print those things. Like, we can't hold up the entire fulfillment process to change a couple things here and there. It's going to have to ship, so every product, no product is perfect. No product is going to go out. It's exactly what you want it to be. The question is like, are you 80% of the way there? Are you most of the way there? Is it like super tight, or is it kind of a crap show? And if it's a crap show, you probably shouldn't ship it. You probably should take some time and fix it. But I don't know. You've got like hard deadlines and stuff. And, frankly, when a company is being run by executives who care more about the bottom line and their bonuses, a lot of bonuses, if I understand correctly, are contingent. I'm thinking executive bonuses. Executive bonuses are a lot of times, I believe, correct me if I'm wrong, contingent upon meeting certain performance expectations. It might be a sales number, it might be like something different, but if they hit whatever those things are, then they get a nice bonus. And so, I feel like executives are probably more concerned with like hitting numbers and hitting dates and getting those bonuses, their own personal bonuses, than they probably are with the actual quality of the product. I mean, it's got to be good enough that they don't have a ton of egg on their face. It's got to be good enough they can sell the books. But like, if they can get away with a few things and it doesn't really affect things, I mean, they're not going to be there forever. A lot of companies, executives are there for like 3 years and they jump ship to a different company. It's how you progress your career. If you stay in one company too long, you don't get ahead. You have to jump companies, so you're not going to be in that company too long. So a lot of times you don't see long-term thinking, like what's the best thing for this company long-term? What's the best thing for D&D long-term, or for Magic the Gathering long-term? I think there's probably, because executives jump ship frequently in a lot of companies, I feel like there's probably some short-term thinking that happens. and they don't think about the long term because they don't care. It doesn't affect them. They're not going to be there more than a couple years, you know. So I think, I don't know. Maybe that's not how it is in Hasbro, or that's not how it is in Wizards of the Coast. I don't know. Maybe that's a little bit different, but I don't know. They killed it with the layout and design. I don't know. I opened up the interior of the books and I thought they looked pretty nice. I think the artwork was really good. I liked the artwork. I thought the artwork was a night and day improvement over 2014. Dr. Phibbs says Luke must buy D&D. I don't have the money for that, first of all. And I don't think I want that responsibility. I do enough work right now, and I'm running a small company, a very small company by comparison. So I don't want the stress and stuff for that. Trey the Small says DC20 is doing a good job with that. Yeah, Alan from Dungeon Coach is doing, I'm sure, a night and day better job of playtesting than Wizards of the Coast did, for sure. I guarantee you. Because Alan really cares about his product. Alan loves DC20. He loves what he's doing. He loves his job. He loves his product. He wants to make the best game that he possibly can for his fans, for people who are playing it. Like, he's got his heart and soul into making DC20. And so, of course, he's going to try to do a good job, the best job he can. You know, he's not just looking like, he's not sitting there like, okay, what's my bonus going to be? And what are the finances and stuff? It's like, I can tell he's my friend. I talk to him. Look, this is his jam. Like, he wants to design this game and make it amazing. And so, yeah, you're going to see that love reflected in how he does things and the decision he makes and how he playtests and taking feedback and changing stuff, you know. Yeah, he is a game designer, man. Alan he's got the game designer brain, man. It's really cool. Wizards seems to have agendas that are not exactly game related. Yeah. Oh, 100%. They've got lots of agendas that have nothing to do with the game. Yes, they've got agendas. Probably political agendas, social agendas, financial agendas. They have a whole lot of different agendas that they have going into it. Have nothing to do with the actual heart and soul of the game itself. And that's pretty obvious by decisions they make, by things that go into the game, etc. So you can definitely see that. They have a lot of agendas competing with each other. And yeah, it's very clear. Have you heard that Wizards of the Coast is making a new TTRPG? Are you joking? Are you pulling my chain, buddy? Are you pulling my chain? What was Hector Vivis? What was the playtest like from Paizo? Hector said it's very stark when you compare the playtest from Wizards of the Coast to the one from Paizo. I'm not familiar with how Paizo did their playtest for, I'm assuming Pathfinder 2 is what you're referencing. How was it? What did they do exactly? So people are up in the chat saying, question, should someone like Elon Musk buy Hasbro? The new OGL scandal. Elon Musk is pissed and wants to buy Hasbro, Wizards of the Coast. What was that one? Some of these comments I can't read. They're funny, I like them, but I can't read them. Yeah, you're right. Many influencers say you can tailor your own game, which I agree, but I shouldn't have to remake it fresh when I open the book. No, you shouldn't. Yeah, you shouldn't. Like, it doesn't matter if things are broken. You can change it if you want. Hasbro is cheap right now. It's only wasn't Hasbro's valuation at like 4 billion? I forget what its valuation was at, but it's not at all that high for someone like Elon Musk. He can buy it if he wants to. I don't know. Twitter's working just fine. I don't think Twitter got screwed up. In fact, it's a little bit. I think there's a little bit more freedom on there to actually have a free conversation without being censored. So I think you probably fixed that a little bit. You know, seems to be working pretty well. It's 13 billion with debt. Yeah, they're getting sued multiple times again. Yeah, I read the articles on that. Professor DM did a video on that too, where he was talking about it stuff. But yeah, I saw it looked like there was multiple. It looked like there were multiple law firms that were like suing Wizards of the Coast over. I don't know what the term would be, but they were. I don't think it's stock manipulation. I forget what it's called. I don't know what creative financial reporting. Yeah. They essentially, for all intents and purposes, I think you would interpret that as lying to your shareholders, misrepresenting things, like, oh, everything's going fine. You know, we have high inventory because we're expecting to sell a bunch of books and a bunch of cards or something, and that's not actually why you have high inventories. You aren't building up supply in anticipation of demand. There is no demand, and you're building up inventory because you can't sell the stuff. That is absolutely 100% creative financial reporting. Yeah, 100%. The stream didn't freeze on my end. I have 0 dropped frames. So it wasn't me. It might have been YouTube, but it's not my end. I disavow all responsibility for that. Almost every, well, you say X's community is horrible, but I don't want to touch that topic because I'll say stuff that people won't like. Do you have any advice to balance online or in-person play? I, GM, like to make props, mini terrain, etc. But the ease of PCs just clicking in is a hurdle. Easy for them, demoralizing for me. What do you mean clicking in? Field Marshal GM, what does that mean? The ease of PCs just clicking in is a hurdle. I don't understand. What are you trying to ask me? Can you clarify that? I'm not quite sure I follow. Ollie's, what are you guys talking about? Somebody says Ollie's has become Hasbro Central. What are you guys talking about? The wind is up at Ollie's? What are you guys talking about? Can you imagine DMing for Elon Musk? What a long, strange trip that would be. That would be interesting for sure. That would be interesting. I don't know what that would be like. I've seen him in. I like Joe Rogan, and I like watching his stuff from time to time. And so I think I watched most or all of his Elon and Joe Rogan's recent podcast together, and then I think Joe Rogan's had him on other times in the past, so I've watched others of his too. But yeah, he's an interesting dude. So I can only imagine what it would be like running a game for him. That'd be pretty crazy. That'd be pretty cool though. That'd be super interesting. I bet some weird crap happens in that game. I bet you. That would be fun. Oh, Ollie's is a store? Ollie's is apparently a place to sell things people don't want. Oh, okay. I live in a box, I suppose. I don't know what Ollie's is. Can you talk about initiative in other systems? I think it's mostly the same. Everybody rolls dice, and then you line up in a certain order. Some games, like some systems like Pathfinder 2, want every single monster to have its own initiative in the order, because what happens when you have the characters always roll their own separate initiative in almost every game, but when the monsters all have a group and they just kind of go anywhere, the problem is if you have 5 characters and you have 5 monsters and all 5 of those monsters go at the very beginning of the combat or maybe second, so you have one PC goes and then all 5 monsters get to go, that can be very lopsided, right? Those monsters have a huge advantage because all 5 of them got to go all at once. And so because Pathfinder 2, the math and the balance of the game is super tight and very well done, if you have a bunch of monsters go all at once, it can upset the balance of the game, essentially. And so like what Pathfinder 2 wants you to do is every monster rolls its own personal initiative, and then those get mixed in with the character's initiative. So it's a little bit more complex to do that. So they do it that way. I don't like doing that. It is a real pain in the butt to run the game that way, but I understand exactly why they do that. Shadow Dark, everybody just rolls initiative. Monsters, I don't think it really matters if they go. I usually put them in the same group. I have my monsters go in the same group. Characters all roll individually. But I mean, there are other variations. I'm sure there are some game systems where you just do roll group initiative. There are probably some game systems that just tell you to go around the table or something. If you're playing a game with a lot of players, going around the table is almost a necessity because it makes it a lot easier. So, but there's a lot of different ways to do it. Timcast tried a D&D show. I don't know who Timcast is. Tim Pool could probably pull together a Joe Rogan, Elon Musk game session. That would be cool. Have Joe Rogan and Elon Musk in the same D&D game session? That would be super cool, man. That would be awesome. Joe Rogan should play a monk, you know, where he's like roundhouse kicking and doing all this crazy stuff. That would be sweet. That'd be totally cool. Correct, Rocket Crotch. If the monsters all go last after the characters, it's a huge disadvantage for the monsters. Yeah, absolutely. That's why they put it throughout in Pathfinder 2. Field Marshal GM says, I meant clicking into a video chat. How can you balance online in-person play? It is difficult to match the energy of in-person play on an online hybrid form. Yeah, so you're right, it is. In-person play is way better in large part because of the energy, the excitement, the feeling in the room, the camaraderie. It's just in-person play is way better than online play. There's no way around it. So, dude, you're asking like the unsolvable question. You know, it's like, how do you blow up the world without blowing up the world? Clone the world first and then blow up the clone, or blow up the original one or something? I don't know. So I don't know what you can really do. I know that there are like workarounds and stuff. Like if you like to use terrain and stuff and you have people playing online, I know there are people who will like have cameras pointed at the terrain so that the people online can see the terrain. Like they'll even do things like, oh, my dog left. I'm gonna turn that off. There we go. I know that there are people who, so like they'll have a special camera just for the terrain and just for the map. And then all the miniatures will be there. And then all of the online players can see the terrain and the minis. And then as they're playing the game, you know, they'll like, you know, move the minis around for the players. The players will tell them where to go and they'll move the minis and stuff. That sort of thing, because they want to do that, you know, and that's cool if you want to do that. I think that's a lot of work. I love miniatures and I love like tactical battles and maps and stuff, but if I'm playing online, I'm going to use a digital map with digital minis because it is way more convenient and much easier to do. And everybody can move their own miniature, their own little PC, you know, token around on the VTT, as opposed to like having to say, move me up closer to the gremlin. Right here? No, no, no. One square up. This way? No, no, no. The other way. Oh, this way? Yeah, 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 yeah. Right there. Right here? Yeah, 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 yeah. No, actually, can you move me? Whoa. Yeah, I don't want to play that. I get it though. Now you mentioned, so you do the best you can if you want to get some sort of camera set up, but geez, that's the big pain in the butt. But that's an option. I think you mentioned hybrid play. Hybrid play is miserable. Let me explain. So what happens when you have some people in person and then someone is playing remotely online? The person who's remote gets the shaft. They get the shaft because what ends up happening is a lot of times they can't hear and understand what's going on, because you're going to have a lot of when you're in-person play. One of the things that makes in-person play more fun is that you can have little side conversations and comments going on, you know, while the game is running and stuff. You know, sometimes that's not a good thing, but many times it works okay. But if that's happening, if there's multiple people talking and stuff, the person who's remote can't understand anything that's going on usually, because there's so much chit chat and chatter going on. So they kind of get the shaft. Sometimes they get forgotten about, like because they're not like right there where you can see them, you forget about them or something, you know, unless you got like the iPad with their face on it, add a chair to represent them or something, which probably is not a bad idea. So, but usually the person playing online gets the shaft, and the game experience is subpar for them. That's what I've tended to see. I once had a player who was like, hey, I'm gonna be moving soon, but it would be great. We all played in person. He was like, it'd be great if I could keep on playing, only do it kind of remotely through like a computer screen or something. And I was like, no, I'm not doing that. So that was a big no. I wasn't willing to do it. I don't care. I wasn't willing to do it. Too much of a hassle, and I don't want to play that game that way. But the other thing too was that we didn't like this player, and his leaving was actually a good thing for all of us. We're like, okay, fine. He's gonna be leaving. We got rid of him without, he's moving. We got rid of him without having to kick him out. It was kind of like a win, you know? So that was part of the other reason of it. I know I'm a big jerk, but that's life. Gadget Cat says, I've done hybrid. It's bad. It's super bad. It's super sucky. This is what I would do. If I actually did have like if I had 3 players in person and then 2 people who were like remote, and we were like, no, we're going to play this game together, then what I would do is I would say, okay, everybody stay home. We're playing 100% online. It is better, my opinion, it is better to either play 100% in person or 100% online than to do hybrid. And if you have players who are remote, like they live in different parts of the country or something, whatever, or world, if you have players who are remote and you want to play with them and with your friends who are nearby that could come to your house or whatever, then it is better, in my opinion, to have everybody be remote than to juggle the in-person people with the remote people. Because when everybody's remote, then everybody plays by the same rules. Nobody can talk over each other. There can be no side conversations. So that everybody can then understand and hear, and everybody is on the screen using Zoom so you can see faces and stuff, or Discord so you can see faces. So you can see everybody's faces, so nobody gets forgotten about. You can hear everybody just fine when they talk over their microphone and stuff. So that would be my preferred way of doing it. Now, if I had like a group of, I have 6 players right now in my Pathfinder 2 game, and if I had one player who, and right now I like all my players, so if I had one player who was like, you know, Luke, I'm going to be moving, could I play remotely or something? I would say no, it's not. I can't do that. I run an in-person game. I'm not going to do the camera setup and all. I just can't do it. I'm sorry. I can't do it. So even though I like them and stuff, I would not do a hybrid play. There's no way I would do a hybrid. But if that person was leaving and like I really wanted to play with them and I did not want to just let them leave, then I would rather go all remote than play hybrid. But that said, I love playing in person. and I would probably just stomach somebody leaving, and then I'll find a replacement, and then keep playing in person, because in person is so much better. It's so much better. So I don't know. Those are my thoughts on that crap. What rule do you use for when players crit to hit? When somebody rolls a critical hit, I just use the normal, whatever game system rules we have. In D&D 5th edition, you double the dice they roll. In Pathfinder 2, you just double the damage, I believe. You double the total amount. In Shadow Dark, I think you just double the total amount. I have a problem because I now am running games in 3 different systems. And so I sometimes get rules confused now. And I've begun to, I'm reading the Savage World books right now. And sometime in the near future, I'm probably going to start reading Call of Cthulhu rules. So I'm getting myself into a situation where I can't keep rules straight for the different game systems that I run games in and am reading. So that causes problems for me. What is the Screen Rant story about I have no idea. I don't even know what Screen Rant is, so I'm lost. Have you been to Italy? No, I've not been to Italy. I've never been anywhere in Europe. I have been to Canada. I have been to Mexico. I have been to Honduras. I have been to El Salvador. Have I been to Guatemala? I might have been to Guatemala. But only because I think we might have driven through Guatemala to get to El Salvador from Honduras, I think. I'm not totally sure. Because I think you have Honduras, Guatemala, and then El Salvador is somewhere over here. So we might have done that, but I can't remember exactly. Those are the only countries I've been to. I've never been anywhere in Europe or anything like that. Savage Pathfinder? Savage Worlds Pathfinder? What is Savage Pathfinder? Nixon says, peg me for Call of Cthulhu, Luke. I got your back. Yeah, Call of Cthulhu is fun. Fun. Yeah. You didn't sound very sure about going to Canada. I have been to Canada. I can confirm I've definitely been to Canada. I live in Michigan, so Canada is right next to us. We went over to Ontario. This was probably close to 10 years ago. 10, maybe 8 years ago. 8 years, probably like 8 years ago. We drove to Ontario. We went to, there's a place called London, Ontario. We drove through there. That was not a very nice city. It was very rundown. But I didn't know that. I just needed a hotel somewhere. So we went through London, Ontario, and then we went to, we were trying to go to, is Toronto the big massive city in Ontario? Because we tried to drive there, but the traffic was so bad that we were like, nope, that's not happening. So we just didn't go. It was just crazy. The guy at the hotel was like, you can't drive into Toronto, dude. You have to take the train. You'll never get there. And we were like, yeah, I'm not taking a train. I'm not a big public transportation guy. Especially when I'm in a country I don't understand, and I don't understand the public transportation system. In my hometown, I could probably figure it out, but I'm not going to mess with it. So then we went to Niagara Falls on the Canadian side. And we found a place that had really good fried pickles. That was very nice. Really good fried pickles. But that was our Ontario trip. So I've definitely been to Canada. 100% been to Canada. I remember 2 things. I had a hard time using my credit cards because most of this was a while ago, right? 8 years ago, roughly. They all had like chip readers, you know, and I think Canada was a little bit like faster in getting the little chip readers than the US or something, because none of my credit cards had chips in them. They all just had to swipe them at this time. And they all used chip readers, and I had to go inside the gas station for them to swipe it for me and stuff. So it was like, that was a pain. And I remember the taxes being really high. It was like 13% sales tax, or it was something really high. And I was like, so I had those, my two, I remember that, I think, pretty distinctly. So, but I've definitely been there. Can't confirm, 100%. You have to eat fried pickles before they get cold and soggy. Yes, you do. Yes, you do. Give me a second. My next thing of tea going. Toronto's the big one. Okay, that's the one. I get confused with like the big Canadian cities. I don't really know which ones they are. You have like Toronto, then Montreal, but Montreal, and then there's another really big one. I think, aren't there like 3 really big ones? Toronto, Montreal, I believe, and then there's one that's like toward the west. Not Quebec. Quebec is like the name of a territory or something, right? I'm getting confused with Risk now. Now I'm thinking, when I think of Canada, I think of my Risk game board, and I'm like, okay, let me see if I can figure this out. Vancouver. Yeah, I'm probably thinking about Vancouver. Yeah. That's the one out to the west. So there are like 3 really big cities that I'm aware of. Who are you going for tonight? Packers or the Lions? Oh, wait. They're playing tonight? The World is a Risk board. I grew up playing Risk. I love Risk. Tons of fun. My wife likes Risk. It's just it's really simple dice chucker game. There's a little bit of strategy and tactics. You gotta think a little bit, but not a whole lot. You know what I mean? Just a beautiful little dice chucker. You know, I like it. It's fun. Quebec is a city and a province. Way to go, confusing. I mean, I'm gonna vote for. I'll go for the Lions. I'm from Michigan, so I kind of have to, support like the Detroit Lions. And this is like the first time in like probably around 800 years that the Lions have actually been decent. I mean, we had the Barry Sanders era, but like we had one good player and everybody else wasn't. So like there's only no matter how good Barry Sanders was, like there's only so much one guy can do, So, but now the team's actually good, so it's kind of cool. It's like, oh, cool, man. You're like, Luke, you're just a fair weather fan. Yeah, I don't care. Risk is good until you get someone who takes it too seriously. That's probably true for any game, I would imagine. Yeah. Lord of the Rings Risk? Oh, that's cool. What's GOT Risk? I don't know what that is. What's that stand for? What's the last con you went to, and which will be the next? What is your favorite part of a con besides who you may meet? So I have a list of all the cons that I'm going to in the description of my videos. So like if you go into this live stream video, and if you open up the description of it, I have a list of all the cons I'm going to be at down in the description of every video on my channel, so you can always tell which ones I'm going to be at. So I'm going to be at the GAMA Expo in February. I'll be at Gary Con in March. I will be at Chaosium Con whenever it happens. About a month ago, when I was at Gamehole Con, I was trying to figure out when the next Chaosium Con is, and it's not on the website. I could not find any information about when Chaosium Con was going to happen next year. So I'm hoping to be there as soon as I figure out when it takes place, so I can put it on my calendar. I don't know why they don't have the date established, but I don't know. I'll be at Origins in June. and then I'll be at Gen Con in August, and then I'll go to Gamehole Con again. Gamehole Con was pretty cool, so I'll be there again. So those are the ones I'm gonna be at. Candyland risk? Oh, Candyland. Oh man. Game of Thrones. Okay. Isn't all risk the same? Like, does it matter if it's like Lord of the Rings or Game of Thrones or Candyland? Isn't it just the exact same game regardless? Isn't it just like Monopoly? Like, I have the normal Monopoly, but I've played like the Star Wars Monopoly, and it's the same game. It's just got different names. You know, like you have the Stormtrooper instead of like the thimble or something. I don't know. It's a different map. Oh, that totally makes sense. If it's Lord of the Rings, Game of Thrones, the map is different. Yeah, that's true. So same game, different map. Oh, that's cool. That would be interesting. I think that would be fun. Yeah, I have to be a little discerning about which conventions I go to, because going to a convention is a big time commitment for me. I have to travel, I have to do the hotel, you know, it's a wait. I have to take almost a week off from work, which is really hard for me to do. That's a big sacrifice for me to step away that long, because I have to take all of my work. So like if I'm gone for like a week or even a few days or 5 days at a convention, I have to take all the work that I would normally do during that time, and I have to do it before I go or maybe after I get back. But usually I try to get it done before I even go. And that's a, ooh, man. Like, you know, I can't just tell my boss like, hey, I'm gonna be gone for a week, and then I don't have to worry about anything. No, the same amount of work has to get done. So if I go to a convention, that's a lot, you know. And then there's the expense of it. It's like $1,000 or something usually to go to a convention, if not more. So there's an expense involved with that. So I have to be careful about which ones I go to. They're fun, I enjoy them, but I don't do booths. I just go and play in games and run games and stuff. We've thought about doing booths. I just don't think I'd make any money. I don't think I'd make enough money for it to be worth it. Because, like, if I set up a booth at a convention, I'm gonna pay. Well, first of all, I'm not sitting at the booth running the booth. There is no way I'm going to a convention and running the booth. I'm gonna pay somebody to do that. So I probably gotta pay someone to come to the convention, probably paying for their travel, and then I'm probably gonna have to pay for their hotel, and then I'm gonna have to pay for their food and stuff. So I'm gonna probably pay about $1,000 for somebody to come to there. And then if I'm running the booth, I have to get all of our product. So our warehouse, our fulfillment partner's warehouse is on the West Coast. So I have to get enough product shipped to wherever the convention is, or to my house, and then I gotta take it in a car or something crazy. All my books and everything, I gotta take those to a convention. That's an expense there and a big hassle there. And then I gotta pay somebody to be there, and then we gotta go to the convention, we gotta get it set all up, right? And then we gotta sell the stuff. So I probably got about $2,000, let's say, in cost at that point, especially if you consider the cost of the booth itself. So am I gonna sell, how much am I really gonna sell at that convention to make up for that cost? Am I gonna sell $4,000 to make $2,000? And is it worth it? Is it worth it? Is it worth going to a convention to make $2,000? Is it worth going to a convention to make $5,000? I don't know if that's worth it. That's a lot of headache. That's a lot of coordination. That's a lot of pain in the butt. You know, I don't think that is worth my time to mess around with that to make $2,000 to $5,000 or something. You know, I don't know that that's worth it, like financially. You know, like if I think about the amount of time that would be spent preparing for that and coordinating that, like what could I be doing? It's an opportunity cost. What could I be doing with my time besides having a booth at a convention? Ooh, probably a lot. Getting, you know, Yeah, there's a lot to be done. A lot of other activities and stuff. So I've never seen the ROI on running a booth at a convention. I just haven't seen it. I haven't seen it. So bye, Nixit. So no, I go as a spectator. I just hang out and chill and have fun. Like if I'm gonna take time off work, I'm gonna go have fun and try to enjoy myself. What would you do if Paizo bought Wizards of the Coast? I don't think Paizo does Paizo have enough money to buy Wizards of the Coast? I mean, okay, let's pretend Paizo does have enough money and they did buy Wizards of the Coast. What would I do? I'd probably have a little celebration because I think Paizo could probably run the D&D IP way better than Wizards of the Coast has been running it. So I think that would probably be an improvement. Now, Magic the Gathering, I don't follow Magic the Gathering a whole lot, which is part of Wizards of the Coast, which is the lucrative part of Wizards of the Coast for what it's worth. So I don't know anything really about that. I can't comment on that. But I definitely think Paizo would do a better job of running D&D, the D&D brand. And because I think that they would actually care about it. Like the executives, the people in charge and stuff, I think would care a bunch more, you know, and that makes a big difference. You love my ambient lighting? Oh, thanks. I have these little LED panels. Like you can see one right there on the floor. There's just little LED panels. There's one there. There's one back over there. That right there is just from, I put like a colored sheet over a normal garage lamp and it just points. I have it pointing up like that. So it's like super cheap crap off Amazon. Could I ask your opinion about Wes March's style game? Yeah. I mean, Wes March's is cool. If that's what you like, it can solve for a bunch of different problems. Wes March's solves for the problem of players who can't get their schedules together and having a player who is unavailable, because the players who want to play, basically, let's say you have like 8 different people that sometimes play, and these 5 here are available for a couple different game sessions, and they all want to say, we're going to get together and play. It's what solves for scheduling to a certain degree, maybe, except that then you have the players have to organize the scheduling, which may or may not work well. Who knows? But it can solve the scheduling problem. And then the other thing that Wes Marches solves for is what are we going to do? Because a problem that some dungeon masters sometimes have is they create this adventure or this campaign, and then the players aren't that interested in it and just kind of wander off and do something else. And Wes Marches puts the responsibility of what are we going to do on the players. The players have to decide what they want to do. We're going to go to that tower we heard about and investigate, or we're going to go save the princess from the dragon, you know, and they tell the game master what they want to do, and then the game master prepares that game session, that adventure, maybe a series of little adventures or whatever, and then once they're ready, they say, okay, let's go. And so the players have told you what they want to do, you have their buy-in, that's what they want to do. So in theory, once you're at the game, they'll go do that thing because they literally told you they wanted to go do that, and then you prepared the game. So I think Wes Marches can solve for some of the problems that can exist in a tabletop role-playing game. So they can be a really cool thing. Definitely, for sure. Oh yeah, the LED panel lights, those are super cheap too. You go on Amazon and look for LED panel. And you can get them on the floor. You can probably get them on, you can get a whole bunch of different types of LED panels. I have some that I use for filming that are up on stands, and then they're just boxes about yay big or so, and they have like the barn doors on them that can direct the lighting up and down and stuff, you know. They call them barn doors. I don't know, you know, they're just like whoop, whoop, whoop. The things open and close. And then, so there's a variety of different LED panels you can get for ambient lighting in your gaming room and stuff, for sure. That's cool. Oh, we have a giveaway going on, guys. Join the giveaway. We're going to draw the winner at the end of the stream. We're giving away $50 DM Lair store credit. You can get stuff, like if you win, you can get stuff like Lair's Legends, Loot and Lore. anthology of adventures and monsters and traps and puzzles and just tons of cool crap to put in your games. And obviously, if you don't win, you can still go pick crap up on our store if you want to as well. We got a whole bunch of stuff over there for 5th edition, for Pathfinder 2. We have map packs as well, just like, you know, for VTT use, just the tons of different maps over there. So there's a bunch of crap over there. We have physical books, we have PDFs, we have like everything over there. So you can go check that out if you like. Oh yeah, I totally just come as a spectator. That's a blue handprint over the face. Yeah. I did that at one game. We ran our own convention, Lair Con, for 2 years. And for the first Lair Con, there was a cosplay day, and I cosplayed as the barbarian. I had blue hand paint on my face, and I hated it because I was sweating, and it was running, and it was smearing, and I kept on like touching my face, and I'd be like, oh no, I have paint on my face. It was miserable. I will never do that again. Do you think that Wizard of the Coast should combine D&D and Magic the Gathering lore? I don't think so. I'd say no. Mike says, I'm new to D&D and RPGs in general. I have played 4 times and love it. I am starting as a game master because I wouldn't have a group otherwise. That's a lot of people start that way. What advice do you have for me? Oh, I have an entire channel filled with advice for you, Mike. I would just go through my back catalog of videos and just watch some of the ones that seem interesting or seem like they might be solving a problem that you might be experiencing or something. I don't know. I have a whole catalog of videos and they have tons of information that probably will be useful for you. But I think the biggest piece of advice that I could probably give you is to relax and don't worry and just have fun, because I feel like it's super easy to get overwhelmed as a game master and feel like there's all of this stuff that has to get done. Holy crap, the NPCs and the adventure and the monsters and the magic items, and I gotta manage the table and all this stuff, and I have to be prepared. I gotta have the maps and the minis, and oh my gosh, and your brain can explode with all the things that you gotta do as a game master, and you get overwhelmed, and then you get frustrated, and you're also worrying, are my players having fun? Are my players judging me? Do my players think that I suck? Am I running an okay game? And you can just, all of these things. So I think the biggest thing is to just relax. Don't worry about it and have fun. Your players are probably not, their expectations are probably much lower than you think they are, and you don't need to worry nearly as much. Your players are probably just happy that someone is willing to be the game master and that they have a game they can play in. Because there are a lot of people that can't find a game master because very few people want to be the game master. Everybody wants to be a player. And which I don't understand for the life of me, because being a game master is way more fun than being a player. But a lot of people want to be players and they don't want a game master. So chances are your players are just happy that someone is willing to be the game master and they can actually play a game. And so as long as you just don't suck and do really bad stuff, you'll be fine. And even if you do, they'll forgive you. Just everybody makes mistakes and learns, and you get better as you do it. So just relax, have fun, and do your best, and just try to get a little bit better each game session, continually improve, find little things that you can make better here and there, and, try to learn and get better. But just relax and don't worry about it, because you're there to have fun, play the game, Okay, I have this, this is what we're gonna do. I wanna do this. I have a form that is in all my videos where people can submit questions. And so we're going to go through here and I'm going to answer questions from this form. So this is the form right here. I'm going to turn off, hold on a second, turn that off. There we go. I'm going to answer questions from this form. You guys can still leave questions in the chat if you want. I'll get you there too, but I just want to look at some of these things. How to prepare to find new players when your core TTRPG group loses 2 to 3 members who are just ready to take a break when your next campaign ends, so you have minimal downtime for the remaining players. I think that's easy. You start recruiting before the game's over. There you go. I've made videos and there's tons of information online about how to find new players, but you literally just, if you know players are going to leave, you start recruiting. You start recruiting. What are some monsters that are normally run as a minimal threat that can be turned into massive threats by just changing the strategies these monsters use? I think kobolds, goblins, orcs, like almost any monster. I think that applies to almost any monster. Yeah, that's my answer. We're going to get some truncated quick Luke answers here for some of these because I haven't screened any of these questions. We're just I'm going to try to crack some of these out because people leave these for me and then I should probably try to answer them. How do you make high stakes encounter for 4th tier Dungeons and Dragons without just making a super strong monster? You don't. There are different, okay, so there are different ways you can introduce stakes into the game. It doesn't have to just be through the strength of a monster. You could have innocents that are nearby that might be hurt if you don't handle the battle correctly. There might be a ticking clock where something bad happens if the combat takes too long. There might be, so there, you have to start, if you want stakes without it being dependent upon the monster, then you have to introduce factors outside of the monster, bad things that can happen regardless of the monster and their stat blocks and stuff. And I just gave 2 examples, but that's how you do it. And this revolves some creativity where you have to think about how to make stakes, you know, like the castle is burning down and you have to, you're fighting some monsters or something, but you have to, at the same time, you have to put the castle out, the fire out or something. I don't know. You have to just be creative and think about some of these things. I remember seeing in one of your videos you had these dry erase minifigures, but I can't find the video you showed them on or where to find them online. Where did you get them? I think the ones you're probably talking about were RPG Essentials. I'm pretty sure that this is what you were that we were referencing. So, this Kickstarter was called RPG Essentials, and I'll go to the updates. It had, can you give me a picture? It basically had top-down miniatures like this. There are flat acrylic miniatures that you can use in your games. I have mine already. Daryl gave them. Daryl's the guy who made this. He's the creator of this project. He gave them to me at Gen Con last year, and they're really nice. So I think this is what you're referencing. It's just called RPG Essentials is the name of it. If you just Google RPG Essentials, you'll find it. These minis are super high quality, beautiful artwork. Daryl's an artist. He drew, painted, whatever, all of the miniatures himself by hand or Photoshop, digital pencil, however he did them all himself. And then they're high quality acrylics too, so they'll last forever. I think that's what you're probably talking about. Those are beautiful. I love those things. I was using those at Gamehole Con. Matthew says, we have not received the minis yet. You haven't, but I have because he gave them to me. He probably gave me, he might have given me some prototypes he had or something, or some advanced copies from the manufacturer. I don't know. At any rate, I got them because I don't know, because I'm special. I'm sorry. Because Daryl's my friend. So he gave me some. I backed the Kickstarter. I bought them too, but he just gave them to me too. Okay. You make a preview, but I don't see Magic Object. I want to test Magic Object before buying. No entiendo. Next. No entender. Perdón, pero no entender. I don't actually speak Spanish that poorly. I'm pretty good at Spanish. I'm making fun of gringos right now, which I should not do because I'm a gringo. No. Because I am a gringo, that gives me the right to make fun of gringos. Yes, I'm sticking with that. Any thoughts on assigning PCs an NPC merchant role when they get to town to encourage RP opportunities and make it easier for them to DM? I don't totally understand what you're asking, but I will say that it's an idea, and you should probably, if you think it might work, try it, see if it works, and if it flops, then you know it doesn't work, and don't do it again. If it works well, then you found a good solution and keep on doing it. Final answer. What is the best way to write a long campaign, level 1 to 20, with several sessions per level? Little bit by little bit at a high level. I have a video, it's an older video from years ago called Campaign Planning Part 1. And then there's a part 2. Basically, the way that I would write a long campaign from level 1 to 20 is by making a mind map or a chart or a graph of some sort at a very high level that gives some very high level details. Very high level details. Not much at all. Right. You want to have the basic idea of what the campaign's about. And then you create the first adventure. And then your players play the first adventure. And then you create the second adventure, and so on and so forth. You don't actually write the whole campaign in detail from 1 to 20. That's bonkers. You do a high level planning, and then you make it little by little as your players are playing. And then if your group falls apart around level 5, well, you didn't waste a whole bunch of time writing all the way to level 20, did you? So that's the way I would do that. What kind of tropes do you see work the best with NPCs? That's a good one. So Dr. Phibbs, I have been making videos. I've been making one video a week for, sometimes there were a couple of years where I was making 2 videos a week, but I've been making a video a week for like 5 or 6 years or something. So yes, and they're all about game mastering. Well, not all of them. Sometimes I made a video about like the OGL scandal or something like that. So, but most of them, 99% of them are about game mastering. So yeah, it's safe to say that I have a video about almost everything. But not every, because I keep coming up with more ideas for videos. So not everything, because I keep having more. The tropes that work best for NPCs. I have found that the things that players tend to engage with the most are weak, pathetic NPCs, and NPCs that have like weird or crazy voices. I feel like those usually work the best. So, and you're talking about tropes. I like annoying, like nerdy, like clerks or something. Yes, we can do that, but it's going to cost you. So I don't know. I don't know. I don't know that I'd usually rely upon tropes when I make NPCs and stuff. I mostly just kind of make something that sounds interesting to me, and then I try to give them some flavor, whether it's in their voice or their mannerisms or something. I try to give them something interesting and unique that's going to make them stand out from other NPCs. Oh, I think Squeaky's back. Squeaky's back! Let's go, Squeaky! Whee! Hey, you're very welcome, Dr. Phibbs. I'm here to talk to people. Next one. First, greetings from Argentina. I think you didn't expect to have some fans here, hey? Como que no? Yo sé que tengo. Yeah, no, that's cool. That's totally cool, dude. My question is, what is the most important thing for making a game be good? Is it freedom of players? Is it a sandbox game? Or the railroad is what makes a bad game? Have a truly nice day. So the things that you mentioned, I don't think any of those things are what make a game good. In my experience, when I think about some of the very best games that I've been in, the only I'm like making this super generic and super high level because I have to. But if I think about the good games that I've been in, many of them share the commonality of the game master was prepared. And it was a smooth game. They knew what they were doing. There was an adventure prepared for us. When we went to the next room, they gave us a description and there was something for us to do. And the game master was prepared. They ran a smooth game, right? The combats were prepared. They were prepared to run the monsters. They knew how the monsters worked. They had a map for that. They were prepared. They were ready to run a game. And then some of the worst games I've been in have been where they weren't prepared and it was a mess. So I think that let me go. Some of the worst games I've been in. There was one game where the game master was literally taking control of characters and making them do things, and people hated her for that. People were literally like killing their characters intentionally to get out of the game. They were suiciding out of the game. So that was one. There was another game where the game master was very antagonistic toward the players and he was like the stereotypical game master versus players. Very bad game master. And then there was another game master who could not control the table at all. It was chaos. Players talking constantly. It was absolute pandemonium. And then they weren't prepared. Their nose was in a book. They were reading the module, trying to find the answer to something instead of making a quick ruling or something. It was messed up. So I think you want to have freedom of players. I think you want to give them, you don't want to take away players' agency. I think that's important, but I think you really got to be prepared. I think being prepared to run a game is super, super important. Now, what level of preparation you personally need is going to vary by game master. I am the type of game master who prepares a lot to run my games. I got read aloud text. I've got the works for many of my games. It's bonkers, but that's just me. Some people don't need that and don't want to do that and don't have time to do that for that with that work. So, but prepare as much as you need to, I think is the answer. I have never ran a campaign. I translated that word. And my friend group is getting into D&D, and I have played D&D too. I have an idea on a campaign that makes a false Hydra. Oh, the stupid false Hydra crap. Oh man, there was a period in time when everyone was asking me about false Hydras, and I have no interest in this false Hydra stuff. I don't even fully understand what it is. I read about it once and I was like, okay, I'll finish the question though, just for kicks. That makes a false Hydra that will be there. There are so many grammatical misspellings in this. It's hard, but I know not everybody's good at that, and that's okay. but the party would be weak to beat and eventually almost killing all on the continent. I want some help on how to give choice to the story, but still have the false Hydra idea. I'm moving on. I can't do the false Hydra stuff. I don't really understand what it is, so I'm just moving on. Thank you for participating though. Looking for where to apply. 20 years experience with almost a dozen systems. I think this is a person who is applying to write for us, and this is the wrong form for that. You are in the wrong form. Writing a campaign where a deity has stolen magic from the world and locked the other deities in orbs. Players will unlock magic back as the game progresses through acquiring the orbs with deities locked in them. My question is, how would I handle magic healing and potions as to not hinder the player's ability to heal between encounters? And how do you make that fun and interesting with the player characters? No, screw that crap. If magic has been stolen from the world, screw that crap. They don't have it. The magic is gone. Do they want healing magic back? Well, then go save a deity. No, I don't. No, no. If that's your campaign premise, then you got to lean into that and make that your campaign premise. Get your players buy-in, right? Because that could be rough otherwise. But dude, you're running D&D 5th edition. It's easy enough as it is. You can get rid of the healing bullcrap, and then the game might actually be a little bit challenging. So I wouldn't do that. Also, on a note, the evil minions of the deity have magic due to him allowing them access through the deity. What tips and advice can you give me to make it balanced for the players? Forget about balance. Throw balance out the window. Screw balance. Just lean into your idea, dude. Tweak things along the way as needed. Like if things are unbalanced and things are too hard, then maybe tweak some stuff. But I wouldn't try to plan for it in advance. I wouldn't listen. If you're running D&D 5th edition, it's not really balanced that well to begin with. So I think I used to come to D&D 5th edition wanting balance, but the game system's not super balanced. It's not. It's a little bit. It's pretty unbalanced. So if you're coming wanting balance for a game that's not designed to have balance, I feel like you're going to be disappointed. So I wouldn't worry too much about that. Now, if you really want balance, then play like Pathfinder 2. Pathfinder 2 is very well balanced, but D&D 5th edition is not really designed to be balanced. So I think if you just get rid of that expectation, it'll probably serve you well. Do you have any creature stats in your published modules? Yes. All of our published modules have creatures in them. Most of them do. Well, we have a whole bunch of different products. Many of our products have monster creature stats in them. Do you have any creature stats in your published modules, specifically from Cobalt Press? There were some issues of Lair magazine that had some stuff from Cobalt Press in them. Yes. I'm working on a homebrewed adventure I'd like to publish as well. I'm aware you're supposed to mention them in section 15 of the OGL 1.0A, and I was wondering if I could get a visual example of what it would look like. Yeah, I mean, the best I can tell you is I'm not gonna look it up. I'm not gonna find out. Oh, go to any issue of. Okay, I'll show you how to do this. This is actually easy. This is easy. I can actually show this to you in a couple seconds. Let me find that really quick for you. So we're gonna go to an issue of Lair magazine, and I'm gonna show you exactly how to do this. Monthly PDFs. Let's go to 2024. We're gonna open up the December. No. You're using the OGL. So we no longer use the OGL. We use the Orc now. So I need to go to an older issue of Lair magazine when we actually use the OGL still. Squeaky has started biting me. And I'm going to open this up for you, and I'll show you how you do this in the legalese part of the PDF, or if it's a book, your book or whatever. Okay, so here's our thing. So this is an older issue of Lair magazine. So the first thing you have to have is at the very beginning. Will you stop biting me? Why do you gotta bite me? That's not an answer. There is some legal content that you need to put in there right here at the beginning. Literally, you can just look at what I put, and you got to put this legal content in there. But the part you're specifically asking about is section 15. So let's go back. Let's go to our OGL statement at the end. So you're required to include this entire OGL statement, right? And section 15 is where you can put all of the other sources that also use the OGL. So if you want to use other sources that use the OGL, then you're supposed to include them here. And literally, like you can see an example right here. We have one from Cobalt Press, Tome of Beasts 3, copyright 2022, open game design. That's the actual company name, the Cobalt Press, their legal name for their company. Open Game Design LLC. Authors, and then it goes on. Authors, Benjamin, all the way down to here. There we go. So this is the entire citation for Tome of Beasts 3. So you can go to any issue of Lair magazine and just kind of see how we do it. And we do this, and we did this for all of the. So we have Tome of Beasts, we have Tome of Beasts 2. We did it for all of them, and then we have some of these. Like we have Creature Codex as well, and then we have some of these. We have like stuff from Necromancer Games and stuff. We have like a bunch of different stuff that it's like, it's like kitchen sink stuff. You throw a bunch of crap in here. We may not have even used stuff in this issue, but it's like cover your butt, So that's how you would do that. What's my cat? This is Squeaky. This cat's name is Squeaky right here. And yes, I have many cats. I have many cats. Yeah, Pathfinder 2nd Edition does have alchemical healing. Yeah. Anna Lee has a question. She says, how long does it typically take to create one of your videos, and where do you include yourself playing several different PCs around the table? How long does it take to create one of my videos? Okay, so the first step is scripting. The script usually takes about 3 hours to write. Look at him, he just wants to bite me. Look at him go. $3 to write the script. The talking for filming, the talking head part usually takes about 45 minutes to film it. Maybe 30 minutes. 30 minutes to 40 minutes or so to film it. And the skit parts, that's probably another 30 minutes, we'll say. So I got probably about, let's call it an hour for actual filming. And then editing. So I don't know how long it takes my editor to edit, but when I edit it myself, I usually edit a video in about 2 hours. It takes me about 2 hours to edit one of my own videos. Now, I don't do a bunch of fancy stuff when I edit. I literally just like, I do the timeline, I do some J cuts and L cuts kind of a little bit here where needed, and then I do a luminetry color adjustment on stuff to give me some contrast and do some white balancing. And then I'll throw it in Audition and I'll do some like voice remixing on my voice to make my voice a little bit better. So I'll do some remixing and stuff there, some like, audio engineering, very light audio engineering. And that's it. I don't do a lot of B-roll when I edit it myself. So it doesn't take me that long. I got 2 hours and I'm done editing a video. Now, my editor actually puts B-roll on it, and it takes him longer because he's doing a bunch of B-roll. B-roll, that's where you have the images and stuff on screen. That is the time-consuming part of video editing, which is why I don't usually do a bunch of it when I have to edit a video. Like, I have a video coming out next week. On Tuesday next week, I edited that video myself. And there's almost no B-roll because Luke doesn't got time to do that sort of thing. But then once you have the edited video, so what are we at? We're at 4 hours now for a video. And then I have to make a thumbnail and load it and stage it on YouTube. That usually takes me about an hour, maybe. So for all intents and purposes, you can say that one of my videos takes me about 5 hours to create from start to finish. For all intents and purposes, that's about how long it takes. Thumbnails are a huge pain. I'm getting a little bit better at thumbnails. A little tiny bit better. I say that now and then I'll suck again in a couple weeks. Thumbnails are my bane. I've always been horrible at thumbnails, and titles for that matter. The problem is, part of the problem is the type of videos I make don't usually lend themselves well to the types of thumbnails and titles that get most people's attention. Like, if I were making videos about, like, Hasbro getting sued, that's a really easy video to make like a good thumbnail and title for, because you have a sensational topic to begin with. It makes it pretty easy to make that stuff, But when you're just teaching, when you're like, okay, guys, I'm going to teach you how to run a mystery. We're talking about how to run a mystery today. That is, you have to put a lot more thought into how to title it, how to position the script, how you're going to do the thumbnail. Like, how do you make a thumbnail and a title for I'm going to teach you how to run a mystery that gets people's attention? That's more challenging. You know, I'm sure there are people out there who would be really good at it, and I'm just not one of those people. So to me, it's a big pain in the butt. I'm not very good at it. Well, thank you, Dr. Phibbs. I appreciate that. Vampire cat. Yes, the vampire cat. Oh my goodness. You're currently running Pathfinder 2. Any plans to use the 5.24 D&D in a future stream game, even one shot? D&D, the D&D 2024. I have zero current plans. I haven't even read the books. I have no plans on reading the books anytime soon. I'm too busy to read the books on a game that I don't play anymore. Well, I do have one game for D&D 5th edition, but we use the old rules. We use the 2014 rules. So until I actually have either a personal incentive or a business incentive to read the rules, I'm not going to read them because I don't have time to do that. I have other things I'm doing and more other things I'm interested in. And we're developing a board game right now, Dungeon Drifters, and I really want. I'm trying. My goal is to start publishing board games and making board games and stuff instead of just like D&D content or D&D. I'll still always make D&D videos because I love playing tabletop role-playing games. But like as far as like products and Kickstarters and stuff, I really would like to start getting into the board game stuff because it's more fun to develop your own game. And I do not have the stomach for making my own TTRPG. Oh, I don't want to do that. That's way too much work. And like everybody and their brother's doing it right now, so it's like I don't want to compete with that. And I don't have any interest in making my own. But board games, ooh, that's fun. And it's something new and challenging too. You know. You have a lot of amazing videos. Thank you. Becoming a DM feels really daunting. It can feel that way. Playing D&D is never something I've done, but want to do with my kids and wife. What's a good rewritten game that might allow for this with a tight budget? Yes! Yes! I have the answer for you. Get Shadow Dark. Get Shadow Dark. If you are on a tight budget, you can get the starter set for Shadow Dark for free. If you get the PDF for Shadow Dark is free. The physical starter set I think is $30 if you want the physical one. Now the core book, which I have in my hand right here, and this is the only book you need to play the game, the only book is $60. I'm pretty sure it was $60. I think it's $60. And this is all you need to play the game. And here's the other thing too. This is rules light. Shadow Dark is a rules light system. It's going to feel like you're playing D&D because it's based on D&D. It's a fantasy role-playing game. A lot of the rules in here are based on D&D 5th edition too. So it's going to feel very familiar, except for the rule. It's rules light. So there are like way fewer rules for you to mess around with. So if you want to start running a game for your wife and kids, this is what you want because it's rules light. So it's going to be easy to explain the rules to your wife and kids, especially if you got younger kids. Super rules light. Things are easy, and I think it would be a good fit. Now, this is a little bit grittier of a game, so which means like there could be more character death, it could be more challenging and stuff like that. But it doesn't have to be. It doesn't have to be. You could certainly make it easier by having them start at a higher level, using weaker enemies, blah 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 blah, whatever. So you can definitely tweak that and stuff. But if you're on a budget and you want to run a game, a rules light like D&D type game for your wife and kids or for friends or for casual friends or something, Shadow Dark is the way to go. 100% Shadow Dark. Absolutely. I actually have my video next week that's coming out is about Shadow Dark, and I list off all of the different things that I love about Shadow Dark. I think I have like a list of 12 or 15 different things that I have in there and why I like Shadow Dark. So that video next week will help you. But I would go for Shadow Dark, baby. Where is this? Okay. Annalise says, while you got it down, I guess when you've been doing it for a few years, doing a small edit just for fun takes me so much longer than it should. Yeah, I have I've done lots of video editing, not like super complex video editing. Like I'm not a video editing genius. I can do very basic video editing very fast. It's fairly fast. I can cut a 20-minute video in about 2 hours. Now there's almost no B-roll, but it's gonna have decent pacing, some L&J cuts, you know, so that it's really tight, you know, and I'll do some like, you know, luminetry stuff so that like the video quality is good. But you need good lighting for that. Good lighting is crazy important to have good video quality. And then I have a good microphone too, which I have on a boom stand that's right near me, so it picks up the audio perfectly. And I have a nice quiet environment. And then I'll do some audio mixing, audio engineering on it to make it sound good. And so, but I have a system down, and I have a checklist of things that I do too. So it's a very tight system, so I can get it done very quickly. But there's very minimal B-roll, because B-roll is the most time-consuming thing. The other thing that I do too that saves me a lot of time with my video editing is that I only do one take of things. So I have a teleprompter and the script that I write, and I'm one take only. I do not do multiple takes of things. I do one take, because I used to do multiple takes of lines, and then I'd listen to all 3 of them, and I'd have to be like, well, which one sounds better? I'd listen to them again. I'd be like, well, I think this one sounds better, you know. And then I'd do that. It would take forever. And then at one point I realized I'm probably the only one. Like if I just put whatever out there, just one take it, nobody is going to know that Luke could have done it better or something, and it wouldn't matter. And so then at one point I was like, that's stupid, I'm not doing that anymore. And I just did one take. And so I'll read my script, my teleprompter, and as long as I don't make a mistake, I just keep going. Now, sometimes I make a mistake and I leave it in there because I think it's funny. But if I screw it up really badly, then I'll just start over from a certain point. But most of the time, I don't make a lot of mistakes when I'm reading my script off my teleprompter. I just kind of do it. I just do it, I deliver it, and I call it a day. So that makes video editing much faster too, because you know that like most of that is just going to get included, and you don't have to cut anything out. You know, just and another trick to help you edit faster is to edit by looking at the audio track. You edit using the audio track. I mean, you can still have like the video part up top on your timeline, but you want to pay attention to your audio waves, because your audio waves are going to tell you what you need to cut out, you know. So most of the time when I'm editing, I'm staring at the audio waves and I'm just cutting it out, and then I'll and then I can do my L&J cuts where I want them, you know, and do stuff like that. But most of the time I'm just staring at my audio tracks, and I don't even pay attention to the visual, because it usually doesn't matter a whole lot, because I just do a talking head style video. So, but yeah, those are like little tricks you learn after when you've edited a whole bunch of videos. So one of the things that I'm trying, so like, I have a bunch of videos I have to do, and I also have to do videos for like marketing stuff. And so I have a video editor, Zach, that edits almost all of my YouTube videos, but sometimes he gets a little bit behind or something, and I need to edit some myself. Or I had one month where my finances were like not good that month, and I had to edit some of them myself because I just didn't have the money. So but then there are some times where he might get behind, and I need to get us caught up. And so I also have some editors on Upwork that I use as well for video editing. And there was like, what was it? There was this one guy, he edited one of my videos, and he said it took him 15 hours to edit one of my talking head videos. And the amount of B-roll he used was minimal. I was like, either this guy is the slowest video editor in the world, or he's lying to me, because it would only take me probably 3 hours to edit that video that he said took him 15 hours. He did put some B-roll in there, but it wasn't that much, and so I'll give another hour for putting the B-roll that he did put in there. And then the audio quality wasn't that good. There were some things he didn't do that well, and I was like, this guy's charging me for 15 hours, and there are still mistakes, and I could have done this in 3. So there was like, yeah, that's not quite right. Like, yeah. He probably doesn't know that I know how to edit videos, and so he's like, I'll just tell him it's 15 and he'll pay it and nobody's gonna know. Like, no, I know exactly how long it takes. Most of the stuff that I do for my business, I've done before myself. So most of it. So I have an idea about how much effort goes into doing certain things. And so when I have contractors that like charge me like unreasonable amounts, then I'm like, that's not quite right. It didn't take you that long. And if it did, it's because you're not efficient. So anyway, that guy was pulling a fast one on me. I didn't like that. Okay, we're done. I'm gonna pull the giveaway winner, and then we're getting out of here. I'm actually going over. I gotta go to bed. It's bedtime for me. So I'm drawing the winner to the giveaway, which I only talked about a couple times in the stream, and I apologize. I'm bad about talking about the giveaway, but I'm drawing the winner right now. Here we go. The winner. Okay, Ellie from Chula Vista, California. Chula Vista. Ellie from Chula Vista. I speak Spanish, and Chula is very close to a bad word, and so that's why I'm laughing. Anyway, Ellie, you've won. I will send you an email. We'll get you hooked up with $50 DM Lair store credit, and it'll be fun. So, all right, ladies and gentlemen, I'll see you next week. Next week, I'm going to be on with Luke Stratton from Limathron. Luke Stratton is the creator of Pirate Borg, which is a TTRPG where you are a swashbuckling pirate. It's lots of fun. I played it at conventions. I played it with Luke and his brother, Tyler, and other people and stuff, and it's tons of fun. So we're gonna have Luke on the stream next week, and we're gonna talk about Pirate Borg and probably random crap as well. So he's got the same name I do, so it's gonna be a confusing stream. So only I'm much more handsome. Probably. I don't know. I have no idea. I have no way to judge how handsome guys are. Yeah, it's not something I do. So maybe Luke is more handsome than Luke. Who knows? Anyway, we will figure that out next week. I gotta get out of here. I'm going to bed. See, I'm starting to talk stupid stuff. That means I gotta go. All right, let's get the buttons. Gotta find the buttons and push the buttons.